Good afternoon. My name is Michael Christensen. I'm the director of the not-for-profit organization called Go Unite. In today's video, I will be sharing what I think are a few ideas that we might consider implementing in order to prevent, or in the event of, our becoming dangerously reliant upon humanoid robots for the obtaining of the things that we need to survive, as well as the broader maintenance of our civilization. And the reason why I'm doing this video is to promote our petition to stop Elon Musk or Tesla or any company from releasing humanoid robots. So with that, I'll get started. So some of these ideas you might have thought about or heard of in some form or another elsewhere, or could have at least have intuited. But I think it should be, the urgency of this situation should be underscored, and the seriousness by which we would implement or pursue these ideas should be somewhat connected to the seriousness of these tools themselves. And it wouldn't work to have these tools working around the clock, doing all these crazy things for us, and have us just sort of half-heartedly pursue these ideas. So that's one thing to consider. Nevertheless, the first idea is I think we should be, or at least could be, a little bit more cautious in the terms that we use to describe these tools. One thing we often tend to do just automatically is ascribe human traits or aspects of our personality to our machines. And in small doses, this doesn't matter, but I think in the aggregate, if we continue to become reliant upon these tools, that could become a very big problem. Another way of kind of looking at this, the computer scientist named Alan Turing, he made an interesting remark. He said, to say that a machine can think is similar to saying that a submarine can swim. And in that context, I think he was talking about what we currently call artificial intelligence, and maybe we tend to say that these machines, advanced machines, can think because it's, the process of thinking and consciousness is mysterious, and it's just like an easy shorthand. But his point there in that quote was that it's not, even when the process of our identity is mysterious to us, it's still not logical or correct to use personifying terminology. The next idea, I think, is to create a series of action plans that can be implemented in a range of scenarios, worst case or otherwise, that address what we should do in scenarios of a wide variety. That didn't make sense. But one thing, for example, to illustrate this point, to make sense of it, I guess, is this baseball bat here. So if I see a humanoid robot walking down my street, and there has been no, pre-warning, and it's just out there walking around like it owns the place, I'm going to take that bat over there and go and dismantle it, the humanoid robot. But that's an example of an action plan. But there are more sophisticated action plans that we should have figured out, which maybe like going to talk to our local politicians, or starting online forums, or staging, peaceful protests, that sort of thing. But we should have a list of worst case and plausible scenarios and action plans related to those things that all are responses to what could happen with these humanoid robots. The third idea is one that's there's a lot to it, so I'll try to get through it quickly, but I call it the Star Trek approach. And the idea here is that we take some type of cultural aesthetic, and then we prioritize that over the development and integration of our technology. And so we try to preserve a cultural aesthetic. So, for example, if you look at Star Trek, in my mind, I think it's not so much a vision of a likely future or an inevitable future as much as it is a vision for a future that we would want to have. And that's maybe the whole point of Star Trek. But Like, for example, why would Captain Picard allow himself to grow old when there's technology that could prevent that? Why would his first mate choose to be the first mate when that person could just go live in a hologram and just be the emperor of his own universe? Like, in Star Trek, there does seem to be this underpinning reality that the people in this Star Trek world are choosing to live out the lives that they would sort of live out naturally, but there is like added elements of science fiction in there, or robots in there, or hyper intelligent machines in there. Or I don't mean to use the word intelligent in relationship to machine, but that's kind of the idea, is that we could preserve a cultural aesthetic. And a clear example of something like this happening in our own world is with the Amish community. Somewhere at the end of the last century, they just determined that new technologies were counter to their spiritual practices, and they began to seriously reject the adoption of new technologies into their community. And I think that's similar to what I'm describing for the Star Trek approach. And maybe in that Star Trek approach, we would emphasize more things like exploration, or the arts, or philosophy, or the humanities, or volunteerism, those sorts of things. And maybe by doing that, we could exercise our intellect in such a way that we might have a better understanding of how to implement or reject tools as they come. But that's kind of that idea. And those are the ideas that I would like to share here today. And this actually is the third video in the four-part series where I'm going over a series, The Humanoid Robot and the Future of Work. In the final video, I will be coming up with some conclusions on these videos that I've done in the series. And then after that, I think I'll do a conclusion video where I go over the broader campaign to stop Elon Musk or Tesla or any company from releasing humanoid robots. And yeah, and by the way, the link to that petition should be somewhere around this video. Anyway, thank you for giving me some of your time here today, and I hope you have a good week, and I will talk to you next week.